Good afternoon. My name is Specialist Gonzalez, and today I will be conducting a brief on the importance of building and maintaining resiliency in a squad and or unit. Now, what is resiliency? Resiliency is a way of thinking. It's a positive and optimistic way. It's basically taking the good stuff out of a negative outcome or shortcoming. Resiliency is key and crucial in the success of a unit and keeping the morale lifted in soldiers. Oftentimes, we look at success and failure with a black and white viewpoint. Pass, fail, go, no go, win, lose. And personally, I think we need to get out of that way of thinking, especially as soldiers, and take every shortcoming as an experience learned, as a new tool gained. The reason why being resilient is important in a unit, because oftentimes we're dealt with high stress, high up tempo, and high demands with a short period of time to accomplish these tasks. As leaders and soldiers of the United States Army, we need to be mentally able to deal with these stressors, make sound and confident decisions during times of stress. Leaders need to have trust in their subordinates, and subordinates need to have trust in their leaders that will guide them in the right direction. This trust is built on how a leader conducts himself, the standards he upholds, his confidence he displays, and the professionalism he upkeeps on a day-to-day basis. Resiliency also allows soldiers to know that there's light at the end of every tunnel. Just because you fail an event or receive a no-go or miss the hit time, there's something to take from that and learn, and an experience gained. So that way they don't make the same mistake twice. Personally, as a boxer, I go into every fight round by round. Now, when the time comes that I may or may not lose, let's say I lose, now instead of going home and crying, I'm gonna take a step back, watch the videos, reevaluate what I did right, what I did wrong, and take those tools for a future bout. So basically making me a better boxer, a more knowledgeable boxer. This goes hand in hand with the Army style training, which is why we conduct AARs, or after action reviews. We do them daily with after PT, sergeant's times trainings, field evaluations. AARs are tools that leaders use when receiving the feedback from the students of that course being instructed. A leader will take in all that feedback, take what he did right, what he did wrong, and also find better, efficient ways to conduct future trainings in order to enhance the overall unit success. Another reason why being resilient and preaching into a unit and maintaining it is important is because oftentimes when soldiers are dealt with stress, they resort to alcohol, tobacco, or maybe even drugs. The Army offers MRT training, or Master Resiliency training, and on a quarterly basis. And what this does is this provides soldiers and leaders as well with different approaches going into situations, a different type of mindset, a more positive mindset, a more hopeful mindset, and it also gives soldiers different tools they can use to cope with stressors instead of resorting to what they already have in place. These tools ultimately build up the morale of the unit and makes for a mentally stronger soldier, a more confident one, to conduct these missions more efficiently, ultimately enhancing the unit's success. Without resiliency, we'd have a bunch of soldiers walking around with their heads down because they didn't conduct PT properly, or they missed the deadline to complete a task, and then it'd just be an issue. a bigger issue than what it really is. At some point in everyone's life, failure will occur, and it's a natural part of life. And as humans and as soldiers, we need to understand that when failure does occur, hey, take it day by day, take what you did wrong, don't let it happen again, and you learn from the experience. This is why being resilient is key. As leaders, we need to strive to maintain the resiliency in our squad. Make sure our junior leaders are also resilient themselves and maintaining it with their squads, and overall make sure everybody in the unit is taken care of physically, mentally, all around, to ensure that we're all watching out for our battle buddies to the left and to the right of us. To recap, resiliency is a way of thinking. It's an optimistic way, and it's important, especially in the Army, for soldiers to be resilient in themselves and the way they conduct themselves. So when shortcomings do occur, hey, you take it as a grain of salt, you learn from it, and you become a better soldier and a better leader in the future. Another reason why resiliency is preached upon in a unit is to uphold the morale of the unit, also giving soldiers newer tools to cope with stressors instead of resorting to alcohol, tobacco, and/or drugs, and overall enhancing unit success. Failure is bound to happen at some point in a personal and a professional life, and it must be accepted and dealt with appropriately, and not looked at as a total loss. It should be looked at as a learning experience. Without failure, experience is never gained. Even if you complete a task the right way, if you would have failed, you possibly would have had the opportunity to learn a more efficient way to complete it, whether if you had just, completed a task and just ran through the steps A, B, C, and D, and that was it. So I think, with failure comes growth, experience, and with being resilient in oneself, it builds the confidence one needs and builds trust within soldiers and superiors, soldiers and subordinates. It builds a bond between us as soldiers, knowing that my team is resilient enough to handle the situations and are confident going into missions instead of doubting themselves. Finally, AARs. AARs must be conducted, and it's a positive tool that the Army uses to enhance future training and taking feedback to ultimately make better leaders and more efficient training. Pending any questions, this concludes my brief.